Yeah, so welcome. My name is BT, Mr. Brad Trammell, and I have a guest with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, and I'm not going to be so bold as to do that. But I just wanted to jump online for the podcast that I've started just recently, and just start off with a good word, with a word of testimony, with a word of thanks and praise to the being who's most powerful and gives us the ability all to live and to do and to be. And that is Yahuwah. I call him by his first name. You may know him as God. If you check out Psalm 68:4, you'll see that his name is Yah too. So what we wanted to do is just come on and just rap, have a good conversation with testimonies that we've experienced over the past few days, maybe weeks, even months, and just see how things culminate. Keen, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, brother. You can go ahead and talk a little bit about yourself and why you feel impressed to engage with me in these conversations.
Oh man, listen, man. Of course. My name is Keen, like my brother said. Man, we're brothers. I mean, I love talking with you, chopping it up, man, because we're on the same wavelength, man. I'm just a brother who's seeking the Most High and learning. I'm so humbled on how much the Most High is teaching me, and I'm grateful to have people like Brad to build with. And yeah, the Most High, he's bringing people together. He's bringing his people together. People who are tired of, the same old, tired of religion, tired of, following men's ideas, convention. Yeah, I'm just grateful, man. I'm humble.
All praises, man.
Yeah.
And to tell you quite the truth, just like Keen said, man, his brothers coming together, having good conversations. And I know these things tend to happen, but, so many times they happen in private. But so many other people can benefit for the type of principle we talk about if you do it with gratefulness and with thankfulness. And that's what we try to keep at the forefront of any discussion, because like the word says, we can bear each other's burdens and such, but we don't want everything to be burdensome. There's some joy in life too, There's some good stuff that happens too, and that's what we come to bring out. And I wanted to just open up by sharing this good word I heard this morning, man. For instance, like right now, today is my Shabbat, personally, which is Sabbath, which is one day out of 7 that I take to rest. Yep, that's right. Yeah, hours. That's my favorite. Our Sabbath. That's right. Our Sabbath. That the Father, ordained from the beginning, one day in 7 to rest. And I take a break from all the trials and the things that I not worry about, but I focus on during the week and just relax, take a step away and I increase my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, increase my relationship with the Father. And Keen and I both make sure that we both do this once a week. And if you don't, please try it out.
Yes.
Please try it out.
I'm telling you.
When I was a kid, I hated it because it was filled with rule and regulation and tradition and things like that. But as I grew older, I learned that it's a lot more than that. And we're gonna, you'll see that being evident in the midst of our conversation. But back to this word. It's good that difficulty and tribulation and hard times come our way. And even though it is painful at times and we do not want to go through it, the realization of the fact remains is this: the fact that nothing ever good comes easily. There is no growth in contentment and complacency and comfortableness. Pretty much comfort can be, one of your greatest enemies in causing you to progress, because you don't have a need to do anything. And I've had these thoughts like all week long, but yet it's been like a difficult week, a lot of trials. And I heard this word where this minister this morning was speaking about the formation of a pearl and how it actually happens. And I never looked into it. But as he was describing it, it made more and more sense. And I found that word was directly for me. And the process is such: a clam has within it like a soft chamber, and then it has its outer shell. Now, between the outer shell and the soft chamber, there is a layer, almost like a coating, that is between the shell and the soft layer. It's called the mantle. And the mantle's job or responsibility is to protect that soft layer from the outer shell. Because even if you crack a shell, it's rigid on the inside. I know people who have eaten clams and I've seen them, they're rigid. Now, if a particle such as sand or dirt or anything foreign gets in between the mantle and the shell, the clam starts to do something very interesting. It starts secreting this substance called, I think, Nakara. And the substance is secreted in liquid form. And what it does is it covers the grain of sand. Now, it usually starts small because you picked up a grain of sand in your fingers. It's very, very tiny. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, in order to increase protection or to make sure that this foreign object, this speck of sand does not do any damage to the soft layer, the clam continues to secrete this substance over and over in layers. So it secretes it once, lets it harden, then it secretes more and lets that harden. Mm-hmm. Now, the crazy thing is, this substance, when it hardens, is harder than concrete. And it's used as a protective layer, and it is secreted in layers. Now, the analogy that the minister brought forth was this. He said, sometimes you will be in dark and uncomfortable places, but there's a process that needs to happen so that you can develop this hardened outer layer. And every time you go through another layer of protection, of hardening, of solidifying the process that you're going in, you become more and more valuable. You become more and more durable based on the process that you just went through. Mm-hmm. The only thing you have to endure is the process itself. Mm-hmm. The longer you endure, the more value, the harder that substance gets. And when that happens, when you're finally cracked open, here you are, this beautiful pearl, that is of a tremendous value based on the length of time that you have been in that dark, uncomfortable place. And when he made this analogy, he landed the plane a lot better than I did, I believe. But all praise to the Most High, I still got the gist of what he was saying. And it struck me so mightily because it's the same thing. I've heard another analogy in regards to trees. Trees grow both upwards and downwards. Yeah. But when it goes up and out, it cannot do that unless it's first grown down underneath very long. You never know, you never see a tree's roots unless you dig. And you never know how deep the roots go. The deeper the roots, the bigger the tree. But it has to have that grounding first. It has to dig and go down deep into the dirt, into the mud, into the darkness, and strive and push and grow outwards for it to be able to pull the resources from around it so that it can shoot up higher and broader. And its branches and its leaves are now suitable for so many purposes. You got nests, you got fruit, you have nuts, you have shade. So many things happen when it's able to grow up and out. But first it has to do that dark, dirty work.
Yes.
Like these two analogies, man, they hit me so hard because sometimes it gets so difficult in that dark, dirty place. You're wondering if you're ever gonna see the light.
Mercy. Preach.
Can you testify, brother?
Yes, sir. Because the Most High gave me a word this week and then confirmed it through a friend. He sent me another video about why the Most High isolates people.
Oh yeah.
And when you're talking about the root system and how important that is for a strong, tree, tall tree, a big tree has to have deep roots, or it won't have the capacity to support itself, right? Mm-hmm. Especially when winds come or if the ground shifts for whatever reason. So a lot of times you look at this tree and it's like, it's not that big. It doesn't seem to be growing very fast. Like, what's wrong with this tree?
Right.
Compared to, some other things or trees, right? Little do you know that there's all the work is being put in underground where eyes can't see. Mm-hmm. It's that the pre-work, so to speak. I heard another preacher talk about when you're building a skyscraper, a very, very tall building, the majority of the material is not going to be seen when the thing is done. The majority of the material is going underground. Oh. It's they could be at the job site for months. Yeah. Just excavating, leveling, and then pouring concrete, putting down all the structure of the foundation that's necessary. You're not in the limelight. Like a lot of people are in the limelight. They got their audience, they got the crowd, they got all these things. So you and the Most High, and you just walking within. What you're doing isn't too remarkable, But what he's doing is preparing us, what I believe, me, you, and some other guys that I know that seem to be making major strides as far as the world is concerned, or everybody else is concerned. But the Most High has us on a different trajectory. And where he's taking us is going to require deep roots, strong foundation. Just like you mentioned, the pearl is beautiful, but part of its value is the beauty is one thing, but the strength is the other thing. Same with diamonds. Why are diamonds considered valuable? They're beautiful, but they're also one of the hardest substances on the earth. So beauty is good, strength is good as well, and that's even more important. So I think that's what the Most High is. He's developing in us and those who he has secluded from society or hidden from society, and just kind of, going through, the day to day. I think that's what he has us on.
I look at it as going through a chrysalis stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting, because another analogy that I had heard before that was very apropos to what we're speaking about is like people see butterflies and they marvel at their beauty. You have children running around chasing them, and butterflies are amazing. Like the variety of anything the Most High made is never just like what we think of. Usually when I think of butterfly, I think of the monarch, because that's like the most
beautiful
famous one, But there's so many other ones, but the thing is, they all had a phase in which they were ugly. They all had a phase in which they were crawling around, and they didn't want to be seen in that phase. They looked like little larvae, until one day they found themselves. They have to climb
like fat worms, right?
Yeah, like fat worms, and with caterpillars. So they got all the legs, and they look weird. Look like little rubber Cheetos or something like that. I look at them, and they climb these trees, and then they suspend themselves. And however much time they spend in the chrysalis, when they emerge, they are this beautiful butterfly. I believe we can give encouragement and relate to others who are in the chrysalis stage, because not everybody emerges at the same time. There's some people right now who are going to hear this who are either just beginning their chrysalis stage, maybe trying to avoid it, or maybe about to be on the brink, and they're like we are. They're ready for the emergence. But the patience that we must maintain and the expectation that we must continue to have is that whenever this thing is over, whenever this season, this process is over, y'all better watch out, because Lord have mercy, I got too many scriptures that back up what I'm supposed to be doing and what I'm supposed to be receiving. And I've known for a long time that I've tried a lot of stuff out with the word, and I know his timing isn't our timing, and his thoughts and ways ain't our thoughts and ways, but man, when he's ready, like, who gonna stop us?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they think of Dave, that ugly stage. Yeah. David, he was anointed king when he was a kid. He was in the caves, and he was just on the run, and then just that other people who were in trouble would come to him. Yeah. So I think that's kind of like that ugly phase. Like you're supposed to there's more in store for you, but you're in the wilderness and you're hanging out in caves, and it's rough times. And the Most High, he's looking for character, because character is what gives us the longevity when we get the blessings.
That's right.
When people get blessed, they get the blessings and the renown and the accolades, and they don't have any character, then they compromise. And that's exactly what happens within the world. They get it too quick. They get the record deal. They sell their souls for the fame and fortune. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But in God's economy, it's the opposite. You have to show your character first, because God is more interested in your salvation than your physical blessings on earth. So once you have the character, then he said, okay, now I can trust you with a little bit more. You've proven to him and to yourself that you can handle it.
Yeah. And the thing is, that's going to happen. Like, he would not have created you without a purpose, and he plans for you to fulfill that purpose. And his requirement for you stepping into that purpose is, just like you said, to go through this valley, to be tested, you know what I'm saying? To go through the rough time of the wilderness, because only then will he know. And this is the wonderful thing about it. We don't ever have to worry about whether or not we're going to make it. he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it up until the day of Yahushua Mashiach. So if he started you in it, that means you've already finished, which is something you can glory about, before you finish, which is the reason why the word always says, rejoice in the Most High. Again, I say rejoice.
Yeah.
It's encouraging you to be thankful and grateful, because it's like you weren't thrown into this, like haphazardly or by mistake. Even if you made mistakes to tumble into it, it did not catch our Father in heaven off guard when it happened.
I just read that this morning in Isaiah 40 something. He says he declares the end from the beginning. So God, the Most High God, Yahuwah, is challenging the other so-called gods. Show your might. Show me what you can do. I'll show you what I can do. I'll tell you what happens at the end from the beginning. Yeah.
He don't start nothing unless he finish it.
Exactly.
I love it when they put it like that.
Yeah, man. It's powerful, man. It's powerful. So that's the God that we serve, man. That he's outside of our time, and he sees the end from the beginning, and then he orchestrates things the way that he wants it to go. So that the enemies of God, they think they're so smart, but every move that they make, their most brilliant strategy is playing into his hands. Yeah,
he orchestrated it like that before they even knew that they were being crafty.
Man.
He's like, I got this, man.
Man, it's beautiful.
That brings me to an analogy that I think about. Growing up as we did, we always saw a lot of God versus the devil and stuff like that, and not just spoken, but in visual media as well.
Yeah.
And that within itself is a deception, because the enemy, whomever he was created by the Father. I just read in Colossians 1 this morning, all things were created for him and by him, and through him do all things consist.
Right.
So if that is the case, then the devil, whoever we scared of, can never step foot on the same plane as the Father of all, who created everything, because all he has to do is blink and everything would be destroyed.
Exactly.
So it's like there is no God versus the devil.
There's not.
And that has caused me to, say something, as I've said to you before, to look at the devil completely differently, not like by somebody who's this grand enemy who we need to be watchful of his devices, but I look at him now more so as my training coach. Because whatever he throws at me, first of all, he's been allowed to throw it at me, because I've been told that it is written that he will never give me more than I can bear. So if that's the case, then why does he allow any type of test via the enemy? That's only to perfect my strength, number one, perfect my character, number two, and to cause me to rely wholly on the one who is going to bring me through, who allowed the test to happen in the first place.
Yeah.
And I love that, because it's a constant mental shift and a reminder not to get so down when things are not going my way, but to just switch my view and look at them as like, oh, okay, I'm being tested right now. Okay, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities and powers. And so I'm like, all right, got it. Let me go ahead and know what this is and then act accordingly. And if I do need help, I know who to call.
Yeah, I love that idea of sparring partner. Like the coach wants you to get stronger. And a lot of times the coach, and I'm sure anybody who's played any type of sport is at a trainer, it seems like the trainer seems to think you could do more than what you believe you can do.
All the time.
You tired, you want to quit, because you got one more in you. One more round, one more round. Almost invariably, a good coach will stretch their trainee to levels where they did not believe that they could get to. Right. And so with that, I think that's a good analogy, man, that this is where the Most High has us, because like it was only recently that we started to even understand on a higher level what it means to be a son of the Most High. Yeah. Right. All that entails, the privilege, the honor, the responsibility, and the ability that comes with that. So we understand now in this season, just like you said, like we were talking about, being the roots of the tree, being hidden and being isolated for a time being until we're ready to manifest. And the word of God says that all of creation, the earth, is looking for this manifestation.
That's right.
Of the sons of God, the sons of the Most High. So this is what He has us in this period to really stretch us to the levels that we should be standard for us, that we have.
Yeah.
So and this includes like we've been talking about, like shedding, old ideas, shedding, what the society and what media projects onto us, like about our identity. So, man, I'm just grateful.
One thing that I'm glad that the time is allotted for, because, a lot of people think like, man, how long is this going to last? Especially when you're in dark times, or it looks like you're not making progress, or you're going through a lot of pain and suffering in regards to your situation, which is the testing and the perfecting of your faith. We remember the words of James chapter 1, where it talks about, not being so apprehensive of these types of situations, but to embrace them as friends. Like, don't look at the trials as something weird happening to you, but look at it as like a privilege. Oh, you tested me. You tested me. I believe I can do more. Just like that trainer. That trainer tests you because like, man, I know you can do more. And so what I learned to embrace, and I did not have this mindset to begin with, I gotta admit, I always counted out in my mind how many reps of anything I should be doing. So I'm gonna do 3 sets of 10, 12, or 15, but I always limit that. There was something that I came across that changed my mind about that, and it's in regards to going until failure. Going until failure guarantees growth the next time. Your muscles go to their capacity. They cannot do any more. They're entirely spent, entirely stretched out. When you stop, because you've reached that threshold, the muscle within itself says, okay, this dude is going to keep doing this, or this female is going to keep doing this, so we better get stronger for the next time they engage this again.
Yeah.
And the body continues to develop itself in that manner every time it's pushed to failure. Similarly, when we go through something spiritually or mentally and we're grinding against it, we have so many failures.
Yes,
failure is
Lord.
nothing more than more information on how to actually succeed.
Yes,
because
Lord.
when you do something wrong, then you know not to do that way again, because you know it's going to fail.
Absolutely. I got something similar. I got to throw it there real quick, but I just love it. Rejection is redirection.
Hey, come on, man. We come with the catchphrases, fam. I hope people take it note.
No,
and I mean, we could spit back and forth like all day. And it is not so much ourselves that are producing this, man. It's the spirit that is present right now that gives us this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Absolutely.
The word tells us that above all things, get wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Get understanding. Yeah. Because when you have that, then you can apply it, you can speak on it, and then other people can benefit from it. Yeah. I'm appreciative of it all, you know what I'm saying? And I know we got grandiose plans this year, plans that which are going to require spiritual aid, because it's not going to happen without it. But it produces within me more faith because of the difficult process I'm in, and because of the dark process I'm in. I know I'm in it so that when I get to where I'm going, I can handle it. We got an example in the word of somebody, just you were talking about David earlier, somebody who did not pass the test and, was pretty much not tested, was Saul. Saul was elected, even when counseled against to be elected. He was elected, he wasn't tested, and then when he got into a position of power and responsibility, he wasn't strong enough to stay there. And then David got selected because David was out wrestling bears and lions over lambs. And then came out, of course, we know, to his grand debut as the giant killer and being able to take out Goliath. But then he was ready. So that's the word of encouragement, or the main theme of this conversation today, is that if you are in that period, that process, that chrysalis, that cave, underground, that dark place, that wet place, that nasty place, the place where it's pain, we're struggling, it's temptation, especially if it's up here in the mind, especially if it's up here, because when you conquer it up here, it starts to fade away and not even be a problem anymore once you defeat it up here. Yes. And I loved also the scripture that says the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your mind.
Yes.
So the more times you get into these situations and you reach out for help to the Most High, He surely to take care of you and walk with you through it.
Amen. Blessed be His name. Blessed be His name.